It's Sunday afternoon. The house is quiet, the way you like it. A cup of tea cools on the table beside you. Your phone has been still for hours. And for a moment, you notice the quiet, not as emptiness, but as a presence. You scroll through your contacts and see names you haven't texted in months, maybe years. The weekend calendar, once a mosaic of scribbled plans, now holds more white space. If this feels familiar, it's important to say this early. Nothing is wrong with you. This isn't a sudden loss. It's a slow, quiet shift in the atmosphere of your life. The noise of constant connection has softened, leaving behind a different quality of silence. Not necessarily sadness, just change. After 50, something subtle happens inside us. The mind begins to prioritize emotional efficiency. Less noise, more meaning. Less obligation, more truth. So if your social world feels smaller than it once did, this video isn't about what you've lost. It's about understanding the quiet shifts that explain why, and why they may be a sign of emotional maturity, not decline. And yet, despite how natural this shift is, many of us quietly carry the idea that something has gone wrong, that our social world is supposed to look fuller than it does. We're often told that a shrinking social circle is a problem to be solved, a sign of decline. But what if it's not? What if it's a quiet, natural evolution? It's not that you're alone, but that the background noise of obligation has faded. The friendships that required constant maintenance, the ones built on convenience or shared life stages, they often begin to drift. This isn't a failure to maintain connections. It's an evolution of need. In our 30s and 40s, our social lives are often shaped by external forces, children's activities, career networking, the busyness of building a life. There's a pressure to be seen, to be included. After 50, that pressure often lifts. The energy you once spent maintaining a wide net of acquaintances now feels like a cost you're less willing to pay. So your circle isn't really shrinking. It's focusing. It's becoming more intentional. This shift can bring up questions, a quiet worry that something is wrong. But the truth is far more gentle. You are simply responding to a deeper, more authentic call for connection that has depth and meaning. One of the most significant changes is the quiet end of performance. For decades, you may have shown up to social gatherings wearing a version of yourself that felt expected. The cheerful neighbor, the agreeable colleague, the friend who never caused a ripple. You performed the role required to keep the peace, to fit in, to avoid conflict. But life experience gives you a new kind of clarity. You start to see the subtle architecture of these interactions, the unspoken expectations, the delicate dance of ego and approval. And you begin to feel the weight of it, the exhaustion of maintaining a connection that is, at its core, a social obligation. So you make a quiet decision. Perhaps without even announcing it to yourself, you simply stop performing. You start showing up as you are, with your quieter moods, your honest opinions, your need for real conversation. And a natural distance emerges with the people who only ever knew the performance you. It's not a dramatic breakup. It's a gentle drifting apart, like a boat slowly untethering from a dock. This isn't about them being bad people. It's about you no longer having the energy to sustain a connection that isn't rooted in authenticity. This leads to a fundamental change in what you seek. It's no longer about being seen in a crowd. It's about being truly seen by one or two people. This brings us to the second shift, a conscious choice for depth over diffusion. You come to a profound realization that your social energy is no longer an endless resource. It is finite and precious. An hour spent in heartfelt conversation about what truly matters now feels infinitely more valuable than 10 hours filled with small talk. You start to crave exchanges that touch on meaning, on legacy, on the authentic experiences that have shaped you. Conversations about fears, about hopes that remain, about the quiet satisfactions of a life lived. This preference acts as a natural filter. It gently pushes away relationships based purely on convenience or shared history, if that history no longer resonates with who you are now. There is a peace that arrives with this shift. The peace of a Saturday evening with a good book, feeling rich and full, compared to the drained feeling you might have had after a loud party years ago. Solitude begins to feel less like loneliness and more like a chosen sanctuary. You are not hiding from the world. You are savoring it in a different, more intimate way. This conservation of energy reshapes your entire relational landscape. It creates space for a different kind of connection to emerge, one built on mutual understanding rather than social habit. It is the beginning of building a social life that truly nourishes you, rather than one that simply fills your time. The third shift is the development of a higher trust threshold. Your heart, seasoned by experience, becomes more discerning. You no longer have the energy for the emotional carelessness of drama or gossip. You've likely been the therapist friend for many, the one who listens, who gives, who holds space. And you may have reached a point where that one-sided giving no longer feels sustainable. It can leave you with compassion fatigue, a quiet exhaustion from constantly supporting others without reciprocal care. This isn't about building walls. It's about installing a graceful, well-defined gate. You begin to protect your peace as a non-negotiable priority, even if it means embracing more solitude. This boundary isn't harsh. It's a form of self-respect born from knowing your own worth and the value of your energy. From these boundaries emerges a beautiful fourth shift: inner sovereignty. You discover that you are, in fact, your own best company. The constant search for external validation to feel whole or worthwhile simply fades. A quiet confidence grows from knowing you can solve your own problems and genuinely enjoy your own thoughts. This self-containment can sometimes be misinterpreted as distance by others who are used to a more dependent dynamic, but it is actually the ultimate gift of this life stage: a deep, abiding sense of belonging to yourself. You no longer need a crowd to feel complete. This leads naturally to the fifth shift: the sanctuary of introspective solitude. You may notice you need more recovery time after social interactions. This is a sign of high social sensitivity, not weakness. Your nervous system processes interactions deeply, reading subtleties that others miss, which is naturally draining. Solitude becomes the necessary sanctuary where you recharge your emotional and mental energy. This quiet space is not empty. It's fertile ground for journaling, contemplation, and personal growth. It's where you evolve beyond old patterns and embrace new identities. This inward turn is what prepares you for a more intentional and peaceful social life. So, how do we gently integrate this understanding? Begin by reframing a smaller circle, not as loss, but as emotional maturity. Shift the question from "what's wrong with me?" to "I am curating my life with intention." Give yourself permission to decline an invitation without guilt, simply because it honors your energy. And notice, without judgment, the quality of your solitude, the peace it can bring. So if your social world feels smaller than it once did, let this be the gentle reframe. You are not losing connection. You are refining it. A quieter circle doesn't mean a poorer life. Often, it means a more honest one shaped by self-knowledge, by boundaries earned through experience, and by a deeper respect for your own energy. Nothing here suggests something has gone wrong. It suggests you are listening more closely to yourself. And if these quiet reflections help you feel a little more at ease with this stage of life, you're always welcome to subscribe. This channel is here to explore life after 50, calmly, thoughtfully, and without judgment.